This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, good morning and good evening. In the last session, we were discussing about enterprise structure and we have discussed about all the organizational elements. Today, we'll start discussing about how to configure these org elements into the system and let's see how the configurations are done in SAP system. So let's log into the SAP system. So configurations we do in the screen IMG and we access IMG screen through T code called as SPRO, IMG, and enterprise structure. So first we have to define all the org elements independently, and then we need to assign each so that we can build a relation between all the org elements. So first let's go to the definition. So the definition, financial accounting. We need to first start with the creation of company code. We're not creating a company in our scenario, but any project we need a company code. So we need to create a company code. So for every configuration, you see there is something called as IMG activity and there is called as IMG activity document. So this IMG activity document will tell what exactly this configuration is all about. So a lot of help will be available in SAP. So at any time, if you're able to not like understand or you don't know what to do with this configuration, you could just open this particular IMG document and SAP will guide you what exactly is this configuration all about and how do you could proceed with this, right? So a lot of help will be available. And this clock symbol what we see, this is called as IMG activity and this is where we do the configuration. So let's click on this and you see the screen here. It says either copy, delete, check or edit. It says copy or edit, but there is no option here to create, right? Why there is no option to create here? Because the best practice of SAP is SAP tells you copy for any object. If for any object there is one standard provided. Okay, there is one standard object provided. So SAP tells what the best practice of SAP is you copy the standard, rename it, and use it. Okay, copy, rename, and use it, but don't create new. That doesn't mean SAP will not stop us to do that. Okay, we can create new, but SAP recommends to copy the standard, rename, and use it. So that's the reason we don't see create here. You can either copy it or else if you want to have edit the existing one, or if you want to create new, you can go to edit, right? So let us copy, just double click on this copy delete check and system will take you to the screen and the second icon what you see is copy. Okay, so just click on this copy org object and as mentioned one standard is available in the system. We could copy that and create our own user object. The standard object can be 1000. So if you see here in this system we'll see lots of company codes. There are many company codes you see. So why there are many company codes here? Because it's a training system, it's a demo system. So we see like SAP itself has provided one company code for every country. You take India, you could say a company code called as 4300. 4300 is the standard for India, what SAP itself has provided. Likewise, you could say for every country there would be one standard. So as is a training system, we are seeing a lot of company codes here. If not, there will be hardly only one standard object in the real time, which will copy and create it. So I'll take one standard. Maybe I'll take 1000, the standard Germany one. So from company code, from which company code you want to copy, I'll copy it from 1000. And two is, what is our user object name? So this data will be provided by our users. The core user will tell. We only need to tell them that what is the functionality of this object and what is the character length, and whether it's a numerical or alphanumerical or whatever it is. That's only the thing what we need to tell them. And your core user will give you the information. And these are, how do we know that what to enter there? Because these all are discussed in the DB phase, and it is already documented in the BBP. Okay, so we are discussing about company code. This is also applicable for any module. It is SDMMPP, any module. Every basic is already discussed and put into the BBP document. So we could see here there are many objects here. Out of that, let's see the company code, what is maintained here. So you could take one BBP and follow end to end so that you'll get the feel of complete one implementation. You could just follow one BBP. One moment. Enterprise structure and company code, page number 15. Now you see company code. So this company has chosen a company code to be CSCL. Okay. So it's up to the business what they want it to be called as, but we need to tell them that this is a 4-character alphanumerical, okay, company code. But anyway, as I told you, we don't create company code. But whatever we're discussing, this is also applicable in the SD as well when you're creating a sales organization. So what we tell to the user, that is the character line, and whether it's an alphabetical, numerical, that's it. User will decide what it should be, right? So as per our discussion, I'll create it as ZGPL, Galaxy Pharma Limited, and I'm prefixing it with a Z. Okay. So why I'm prefixing it with a Z? Any user object we create in the system, it is recommended that we prefix it with Z, because when you upgrade your system, what happens? System will overwrite all the standard programs, right? It will overwrite the standard programs. So how does system know what is the user object and what is the standard program? How does system know that? So for that reason, if you like whenever you're creating your user object and you prefix it with Z, the system knows that this is a user object and system will not overwrite user objects. So your configuration will be in place in the system. It will not get overwritten. Okay, so for that reason, we need to prefix or any user object, whatever you copy and create it with Z. Okay, and system shows lots of message while we are copying and creating. So just ignore them here because in the real time we don't create a company code. And even then these are nothing important for us. So just keep pressing enter, maybe some 6 to 7 times. System will keep showing some messages like this. Keep pressing until you reach this screen where system starts copying the tables, programs and everything. Okay, so once you start doing any configuration, when you click on the save button, system will show up this screen. You see, we discussed even in the SAP methodology as well. So what is our role in the transport request, right? So this is the customizing request pop-up screen. So whenever we click on system shows up this screen. So this is the TR number and this is the meaningful description what we have to mention. But when you start practicing, as it's a first time you're doing the configuration, you will not see either TR number or description, it will be blank. So what you do is you click on this white color, you see this create icon. Just click on this icon. Then system will ask you enter description. You don't need to give the TR number. System itself will, I'll just say company code creation. Okay, company code creation. click on save. So that meaningful description and system itself will trigger the TR number. Right? Just say OK. Just say OK and just continue. And just cancel this and cancel. And now you could see system says that a new object has been created. So the selected object was 1000. Selected object was 1000. And the completed activity is SAP has created a new object here called as ZGPL in the system. By copying the 1000, system has created a new company code in the system. All right. So now a new company code has been created. But how we created that? We have copied it from the standard. That means whatever the standard is there, the standard has been applied to whatever the user object we created. But that may not be my requirement because the company could work from where we copied. It is Germany. That means the currency, the language, the country code, everything is Germany, right? So now, if as I told you, when in the real time, when a customer buys, system will deliver only that particular country best practices. So you don't need to change this all. Directly, all the details will be the same country the client belongs to. So let's go back and edit this company code. How do we edit? By clicking on this. There is a list here of all the company codes. Click on position. So when you click on the position, system will ask for what company code. So ZG PL, this is what we created. This is the ZGPL, this is what we created, but here it says that that's from Germany. So ours is not Germany, so you could select this and go to details. This is a details icon. See, in the latest version, this is old version. So you see icons and everything here. But the latest version, what we practice, in that, the complete UI is different. Just a moment. I don't know why it has not updated. Let me check the theme. Basil theme, query features are active. High contrast. Not sure. Anyone tried the theme? Changing the theme? Black, high contrast, white. No, it should be here itself. Anyway, already query features are active. Basil theme fallback is also. Let me try it later actually. So we could either downgrade or we could like if you're not comfortable with the latest version, you could downgrade over like older version by removing that checkbox. You know that checkbox is active, system is not showing the query features. So when you start practicing that 770, it all looks different actually, the details icon and everything. Probably we'll discuss only on the latest version from tomorrow. Okay, so yeah, when you select this and this is the details icon, company code is physical or imaginary? Anyone? Company code. Is it physical or imaginary?
Imaginary.
Are you sure?
It's a physical. It's physical.
We have discussed, right? Company code. It's a physical. Okay. So if you're at least in the system, you can easily find out whether it's a physical or imaginary. If it is a physical, it will have an address. Okay. For object, physical objects, there will be an address. So you see that this is the address icon to be maintained for the physical object. Okay. So let's select the company code here, whatever we just created, and click on this icon details. And system will show you a couple of details here. So basing on that, you could change it. Let's say I'll say this as Galaxy Pharma, maybe city, everything we could change it. Okay, we could change it, right? So it's not that simple like what we are seeing here, only a couple of fields for the company code. So this setup all is already done by FI consultants before even they go ahead with this particular company code. All the company code settings will be done in the backend. So it's a FI transaction, nothing to do for us. OBY6. OBY6 is the global maintenance of company code. This is system says I'm locking the screen. This is the global maintenance of the company code screen. So here you could see company code, and when you go to the detail, you see all the data, the tax codes and chart of accounts, fiscal year variants, everything is already maintained here, right? So it will be already maintained in the system. So whatever we have just created the company code, that is only for us to proceed along with the HD requirement. But if it is FI, they have lots of things to do before even start doing this company code. But for us, we need a company code because the sales org has to be assigned to the company code, right? So you could change any of this data and click on save button so that system could save or the newly created company code. So a company code, a new object has been created in the system. Then come back. And nothing more for us to create here in the financial accounting. So let's close this. And now let's go on to the sales and distribution. So in the sales and distribution, define, copy, delete, check sales organization. The same way we created a company code, we need to create sales organization. So let's click on this definition. So all the highest organizational units, it's recommended you copy, delete, check rather than creation, because there are lots of tables, fields, and programs assigned to these objects. If you create new, there is a chance there might be an inconsistency, right? So to avoid that inconsistency, it's better you copy, delete, copy and create it rather than you just create it. So even company sales organization, I'll create, copy, delete, check. So double click on this. Copy this, click on the second icon. So system asks from where we have to copy. So I'll just give the standard object as 1000 and user object as the same what we just used. So I recommend to have the top all the sales are that is highest org units. Company code, sales org, plant and shipping point to be the same name. So rather than memorizing 4 or 5 different names, if we can go with the same name, that would be pretty easy for us to memorize in the system. Because we will be using this every day later. So rather than having 3, 4 different names, it's better you could go with this. So I'm giving the same name even for the sales organization, just like a company code. Let's go ahead. Just keep pressing enter until you see the screen customizing request and say OK. So a new object called as EGPL has been created in the system. A new sales organization has been created. So the same way, come back, then click on define sales organization and go to position to find out our newly created sales organization ZGPL. Right, so ZGPL, this is what we just created. Sales org, is it physical or imaginary? Anyone? Sales org
Physical.
is
Physical.
physical. So you could see this icon, as I told you. This icon you will see only for the physical objects. Imaginary objects will not have this icon because this is the address icon. Okay, if you select this and if you go to this icon, you'll see all the details about this particular address. Only physical objects will have this address and imaginary objects will not have address either, controls as well. So that's just like company code, select this object and click on this icon, the second icon, where we have some controls. So these are few controls what we see here. Here the first very important thing is the sales org calendar. calendar is very important for SD consultants. What is the contents of a calendar? Anyone? What's the contents of a calendar?
Dates,
Working days and
Holidays.
holidays, right? Working days and holidays.
holidays,
And
company holidays,
and
free holidays.
and if we say holiday, why it is a holiday? Is it a Sunday or it's a festival? Or holidays are by local itself, the regional holidays, right? So why it is a holiday? So calendar plays a very important role in SD module because we need to schedule deliveries, right? We need to schedule deliveries, and let's say we don't work on weekends. Saturday, Sunday, as a business, we don't work. Our plants is shut down. A customer is placing an order on Friday and asking to do delivery on Sunday or Saturday or the next day. Is it possible to do a delivery? Not possible, right? It's not possible because we are closed on Saturday and Sunday. So calendar is very important to schedule the delivery. The same way opposite around, that is, if the client is not working on Saturday, Sunday, so we schedule the delivery on Friday and it reached the customer place on Saturday morning, but customer is closed on Saturday and Sunday. So we have to wait until Monday. So our resource is getting wasted, right? So calendar is very important in the SD module, and this concept is called as delivery scheduling. Later we'll learn about this concept, delivery scheduling, but calendar plays a major role. So there are two calendars. One is called as factory calendar, and other one is called as customer calendar. Okay, there are only two calendars in the business. The names might be different. Here it says sales or calendar. Sales or calendar is also nothing but a factory calendar. This is also nothing but a factory calendar. So there are two calendars. That is sales or calendar and customer calendar. So customer calendar later we'll see at the time of customer master, but this is called as factory calendar. We don't set up factory calendar. SD will not set up factory calendar. Factory calendar is set up by either basis or HR or FI. It's up to them, but we don't maintain the factory calendars. Okay, it's maintained, mostly it will be maintained by basis or HR. Okay. So let's see how do we maintain it. Even though we don't maintain, we need to have a very good understanding on this. So let's see. So factory calendar is maintained with a T code called as SCAL. Okay, SCAL. This is the T code for factory calendar. So do you need to memorize all these T codes? Yes, you need to memorize, but you don't need to mug up them. In the process of learning these 2 months, you'll know everything. You'll memorize. You'll know everything. So, but you don't need to specially mug up or memorize all these things. Okay. So once we are here, as I already told you, what's there in a calendar? Working days and holidays. So first we need to define, see on January 1st, every business or every bank release their calendar for that year with working days, holidays, and why it is a holiday and everything, right? So first, if you want to like build a calendar, you need to define the holidays first. So first you create holidays, and holidays are by region, right? By region also the holidays are different. So public holidays, and just click on the change. The standard SAP has already provided lots of holidays. You could see here. As for the region like the geographical location, standard SAP also provides a couple of holidays, but we could create even holidays. As I told you, holidays are by region, the local region. So we need to define as per that particular client requirement. So how do we create a new holiday? You can click on create and you can tell system whether this holiday is a fixed holiday or a floating holiday. If it's a Christmas, it's a fixed holiday every year, right? But you take Diwali or Ramadan, they're not fixed holiday, right? They vary. So you need to mention here whether it's a fixed holiday or it's a floating holiday, whether it comes next to the Easter. So that's how we build first holidays. As per that region, what are the holidays are applicable? First, we need to create a holidays independently. And these holidays, we assign it here in the holiday calendar. We'll assign the holidays and create a new holiday calendar. This is this holiday calendar. So what are the holidays which are created in the previous step? Those all holidays should be put into one calendar called as, now just click on the change mode. You see, these are all the holidays and its validities, everything. So what all the holidays are created, just click on the assign holiday. It will show the list. You select and say, okay, that comes here. And you could just give the valid from valid. So this is a holiday calendar. Okay. So once you have the holiday calendar, then we create factory calendar. Factory calendar. First, we create holidays and put these holidays into holiday calendar. Then assign this holiday calendar to factory calendar. So click on this change, and you could see a factory calendar. So select this and click on change. You could see here the holiday calendar, whatever is created in the previous step is maintained here, and the validity. And the week starts for this calendar. So in the business, whether your week starts on Monday or the week starts on Sunday, and what all the days you work in a week, only on the weekdays or 6 days, and we also work on public holidays, Saturdays and Sundays, so everything you could mention here. So whatever the calendar we configure here, as I told you, as an SD, we don't do this activity, but we should have very good understanding on the calendar. So once we have the calendar, this calendar, we'll assign it here in the, you see here sales are calendar and 01. What is 01? 01 is factory calendar Germany standard, right? So if I take you to factory calendar, what is 01 here? Factory calendar Germany standard. So there will not be two, three different calendars. There will be only one calendar called as factory calendar. But when it comes to the module or wherever the area you are using it, the description or the name might be changing, but it's the one and same. Right? So that's how we create a calendar. So that's the control what we have here. We don't need this because rebates is anyway absolute. So once we're done with the calendar, just click on the save and come back. Every configuration you have to save and come. You have to save and come back. Save the configuration and come back. Then define, copy, delete, check distribution channel. Distribution channel is imaginary. Okay, you don't need to copy or this particular distribution channel is imaginary. So directly you can go to define distribution channel. You see there is no address icon or there is no details icon. There is no address or there is no details icon because it does not have any functionalities. It's only an imaginary object and no controls actually. So you don't even find the details. So you could directly go to the new entries and create a new distribution channel as per the client requirement. How do we know that? What description has to be given or what values has to be maintained? As I told you, anything is by only BBP. Okay, these all details are discussed and documented in BBP. So what should be the sales organization or what should be the distribution channel? So everything is already documented. So realization phase is more of a data entry work. Okay. So you just see the document and you just do the data entry work. You could see here So these are the distribution channels. So you could follow one BBP as I mentioned, so that you'd get the complete one project end-to-end experience. Let's go back to distribution channel, and I'll just create one or two distribution channels. Two is okay. Okay, don't create anything more than that. That's waste of your time. Anything more than two, you're not gaining anything. You're just wasting your time. If you know the concept, even one is also enough. So I'll try to create a new distribution channel. So it's hard to find a desired name in the system. In the training system, it's very hard to find our design name. So I'll just give some random number name. I'll say it as AQ, and I'll say it as the dealers. Okay, even this AQ has been taken. Then I'll create as AZ. Maybe even this has been taken. I'll put it as AA. This has been taken. Maybe FA, something. Okay, even FA is, as I mentioned in the training system, it's very hard for us to find out the desired name or number. So just keep random, check random, so we'll be knowing what exactly is this. Right, so FA I just created. Maybe I'll create one more like FB, and I'll call it as institutional. Institutional, right? So two is enough. We don't need to create anything more than this. So let's go ahead. Save this. Customizing request. So I'm not like creating a new request for every object here, because in the training system, anyway, we don't have that landscape to transfer from one server to other server. So I'm not creating any new request. I'm saving every configuration the same request. You can also do the same thing, because we don't have a the setup like a landscape to transfer, right? So two objects which we created, that is distribution channels. Come back, and I'll also create a division. Where is division? You see here, there is no division. Sales are distribution channel, and then next should be division, right? But there is no division here. Very important interview question. Who configured a division in your project? Specifically, they asked this question in the interview. Who configured division in your project? Why they specifically asked this question? For this reason. Okay. There are some questions which will tell the interviewer whether you're real time or not. Okay. So division, I hope I already told you, right? It's a cross module object, which neither belongs to SDM. Usually we can say division is MM, but not specifically only to MM. It is used by other modules. So division you don't see in the sales and distribution. Any cross module configuration, it could be either division or plant, anything, any cross module object, you will see under logistics general. Okay, you'll see under the logistics general. So when you go to logistics general, and here you see the division. Go to division and do the same thing, define division. This is imaginary object. Neither it has an address or it has details. You don't need to uh, copy it. Okay, so I'll just go to the new entries and do the same thing. And I'll try to keep the same name for this. I'll say it is trucks or cars. So as mentioned, two is enough. Don't waste your time. This is not actually what we are supposed to do, and we don't do this activity every day. So if you understand the concept, just two is enough. Any object it is. So people say, right, I practice for 10 hours, I spend 14 hours every day. What they do 14 hours? Do you really need 14 hours every day to practice or prepare? We don't need it. So the people who is spending some 10 hours, 14 hours in SAP preparation, they're just killing their time by creating these objects. And be satisfied that today I have spent 10 hours, I have configured. But why would we do this activity? Because enterprise structure is configured only once. Whether you create one or you create 100, if you know the concept, even one is enough. You don't need to create 100. It's waste of your time. So make sure you know what is to practice. SAP is not about all the practice. If you're spending 10 hours on the system, doesn't mean you prepared very well. Okay, you have to understand the concept, right? So just create the object, save it, and come back. Every object you have to save it. If not, system will not allow you to proceed further. So we have created division. So nothing in the logistics general. Let's close this and again come back to the sales and distribution. So here we
Praveen,
created
so
sales org. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, just wanted to know division is configured by
SD.
what would be the
SD.
answer?
SD. Who
Okay.
configured a division in your project? SD will do that. Even though we said division is maintained in material level, which is belonging to which belongs to MM, even though MM, but SD will do the configuration in the project. That's one very killer question in the interview. There are two, three more configurations like this. By nature, that will be of MM objects, but SD will do the configurations. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So that is division. The next thing is the sales office. So sales office is under sales area, right? So let's go to the sales office. Sales office is physical, but it does not have any configurations. It's a physical object, but you see there is no controls here. It's a 4-character alphanumerical, and you can just give the description, whether northern sales office or southern sales office, anything it could be. Just give 4 characters and give that meaningful description. I'm not creating them because that's self-explanatory without any functionalities. The sales group is also the same way, but this is 3-character alphanumerical. It's a 3-character alphanumerical. It's an imaginary object, no address, no detail. So just give some 3 characters and you can give the description. So that's what we have in the sales and distribution. So we have created company code, we have created sales organization, and the next we need is plant. That's the highest org unit in the MM. So plant, as I told you, it is neither MM or SD or PP kind of thing, right? Because plant is used by every module. So anything which is cross-functional, then you see it under the logistics general. And now when you go to the logistics general, here where we see the plant. And plant is the highest org unit. So we cannot create this. You have to copy this and create your own. Okay. So we cannot directly define it because it will be having lots of dependencies. So copy, delete, check plant. Same process. Click on the second icon. Then you could copy from the standard and taking the standard as 1000. As I told you, I'll give the all highest org units with the same name as company code. It makes us easy for like we could memorize them. So just keep enter, press keep enter. So in interviews, we'll be facing one very frequent question, an important question as well. Like what all the places we maintain plant? Again, how many places we maintain plant, or what are the areas we maintain plant? Sorry, calendar, not plant. Calendar. So what all the areas we maintain calendar? That's one frequent question in the interviews. We already discussed in the sales organization, there is a calendar, right? In the sales organization, we already have calendar. And we discussed that there will be only one calendar called as factory calendar. You go to the details and you see here calendar, factory calendar. So total 3 places we maintain factory calendar. One, we already discussed it at the sales organization level, and the 2 is here in the plant level. And the 3, we'll see it later, that is shipping point. Okay, we check at the shipping point. So these are the 3 places where actually we maintain the calendar. Right. So we have created a plant now and come back. And as we already discussed, plant has to be classified into storage locations. For easy maintenance of materials, plant has to be classified into storage locations. So that comes under the MM. Okay, that comes under the materials management. So here you see there is storage location. So before we even classify it, first we need to tell system what that is which plant you want to classify, right? So maintain storage location, and you see system ask here. So which plant you want to classify? Let's I'll give it a ZGPL which we created just now, and you see these are the storage locations. See there are always storage locations assigned to this plant, right? We just created it, but we see lots of storage locations here because we have copied from the standard object, right? The same standard you can see here. You don't need to delete them. There is no purpose, it's waste of time. So you can just click on the new entries and you can create your own storage locations. Let's say I'll say it as first. First is finished goods. Others, these are codes in the system, later we'll learn. ROH. This is raw material. So like this, you can create your own storage locations. You don't need to create the you don't need to delete the existing ones. So now you go back and you see the two new what we have entered. You could see here. Save it and come back. So we're done with the storage location, that is classification of plant. And the last object, what we need to create is shipping point. And shipping point is under the logistics execution, LE. Under the LE, we see the shipping point. Shipping point is the highest org unit in the LE module, logistics execution. So it's recommended that we copy delete check rather than we create new. Any highest org unit, it's recommended you have to copy and rename it, but don't create new. Okay, so I'm not creating any shipping point, so you know how the process to copy delete check. So I'll directly go to the define shipping point, take the standard and discuss the controls. Standard, this as we know, shipping point is it's a physical object. Shipping point is physical, so you could see here it has a address and it has details. So select the shipping point and go to the details. So what all the places, a shipping point is usually considered as departure zone. That means from where the goods are delivered to customer. And what all the places we maintain shipping point? 3 places: sales org, plant, and you see at the shipping point, factory calendar, German standard factory calendar. So the name we call it as different, but calendar is same, right? And another two very important fields here in this screen is these two fields: pick pack time and loading time. Very, very, very important. In very recent interview also they asked this question. Very recent interview, maybe a couple of weeks back, or maybe in the last 2 weeks, this question was asked in the interview: pick pack time and loading time. What is pick pack time and loading time? That is, see, when you want to schedule a delivery, there are 5 parameters system will consider. So if customer is asking to do a delivery, let's say customer placed an order on Friday and customer is asking to do a delivery on Monday. Okay, customer placed an order on Friday and asking to do delivery on Monday. But to pick and pack the materials for us, it will take 2 days. And to load the goods onto the truck may be taking 2 days. That means to pick and pack and load the goods itself is taking 4 days. Then there are another 3 parameters system will consider. Journey time also you have to consider, right? You have to, let's say you book a Uber. You have a wait time, right? It shows maybe arriving 10 minutes or sometime. That's called as lead time. Lead time means waiting time. So there is one more time called as TLT, transportation lead time. That means once you arrange a truck for delivery, it will take some time for the truck to arrive. It may take 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day. Sometimes it is not a truck. It might be a cargo ship, right? Or it may be a vessel, or it might be a air cargo. It may take months as well, right? So system should consider these all things before you schedule a delivery, right? So there are a couple of parameters. We'll learn this topic later. That the concept is called as delivery scheduling. So to do the delivery scheduling, system will consider 5 parameters, and out of the 5 parameters, 2 parameters are pick pack time and loading time. So in the interest also they ask this question, where do we maintain pick pack time and loading time? So we maintain it here in the shipping point. But in some interviews, they also ask a question, we have not maintained any pick pack time or loading time. There is no pick pack time or loading time maintained in shipping point, but still system is considering it. Okay, system is considering it. So from where it is taking, so if we don't maintain, how the system is taking this? That is, there is a concept in the logistics execution called as a route determination, in which route this has to go, right? So it is from the route determination. You see this here, you go to options, route dependent, right? So if it is not maintained in the in the shipping point, that means it might be taking from the route. So in the interview, if they ask you a question, we have not maintained it, but how system is able to consider it, that is from the route determination. Right? So this is shipping point. So that's what all the objects what we need to create in the system. We have discussed all the definition objects. So we'll stop it here today, and tomorrow we will do assignment and we will build relation between all the elements, and we have seen a structure, right? So that will create tomorrow in the system. So any questions, please go ahead.
The company code should be characters only, or we can use all numbers also.
Alphanumerical.
Alphanumerical. Because we are using actually only numericals.
Alphanumerical, numerical, or alphabetical. Any three possibility.
Even the distribution channel also, right?
Anything. All the objects are either numerical, alphabetical, or alphanumerical. You have 3 options. Any object. Okay.
Sir,
Go ahead.
this storage location is responsibility of MM or only SD can also define?
SD. Actually, if your project is big and you have logistic execution consultants separately, then it will be handled by LE consultants. If not, it's done by SD.
Okay, okay.
Okay. LE is a module, but not that big as SD. So if a project can afford, then they go for a separate LE consultants. If not, this activity has to be done by SD itself.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions, anyone?
Yeah, Praveen, while doing practice, actually, if we can't touch the screen for 5 minutes, it is asking for password and
Relogin.
username immediately.
Okay, that might be idle time. Need to be reset actually. Which server it is? From where you take it?
This one, Himanshu.
Okay, I'll put a word with Himanshu for lead time, because what happens is, even I do the same thing. I open the system and I don't log out of the system. My system will be 24 hours on. So what happens is, the more number keep like that, the system will get slow, right? So what they do is they put a auto log off. They'll terminate the session. Again, you need to log in, because it's a training system and hundreds of people will be using, right? So to increase the performance, what they do is they terminate the session after a certain time. So the idle time has to be increased.
Yes, yes.
Even I am facing same issue. And when I check with him, it is available 7.6 version. Is it fine?
It's available. Yeah. We are using 760 only, right? I need to do some settings, I guess. Let me check the settings because this logon pad is turned into 7.6 kind of version, but still the screens, these are showing 740. Let me check and convert this also into the 760 version because you will be practicing and you will be working in the future only on the 7.6 version. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing Google Drive video.
And
I just checked it. Actually, I needed documents as well because what
okay,
happens is
I'll
you
share.
have shared the document by G Drive and the folder is not opening it.
Yeah, no issue. So just
Okay,
send me an
and
email. I'll
thanks,
attach to the
thanks for
site and I'll reply. Okay.
yeah, sure. Right
Praveen,
away, send.
I have one question.
Yeah.
While doing this calendar settings, every year some days will be changed, the holidays. So every
Yes.
year, the first week or that is the that need to be changed.
Yes. See, it SG does not have much of work, but you take FI, you take you have basis consultants will have some activities like weekend activities, month end activities, year end activities. Okay, they'll have these activities to do.
Yeah.
FI has to check every month whether all invoices has been triggered or not. And at the end of the year also they have to check because once the year is completed, you cannot carry forward, right?
Yes.
So they have to check. At the same time, also has to check because they need to do the reporting, right? And the audit also they have to submit what is the last month stock. So every month stock has to be closed, and for every new month stock has to be opened. So SD don't have this activity. SD also have few year-end activities, but FI, and basis will have this more activities of month and year-end kind of. In the year-end activities, they have to do this. That is not especially done actually. It's part of their job. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll call it a day today, catch up tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll continue with the assignment and we'll finish assignment. So one complete structure will be there in the system, then we can start master data. So good everyone and catch up tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you.